Hi, I'm not sure if this starts early, but if you're here, I'm just setting up, making sure the camera's okay. And hopefully it's not already live, but it might be going now. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I think we're going live. Just give me a moment. Still getting used to this live format. So give me 1 second. I think we are good. Yes, looks like we are live. So thank you if you're joining in. Welcome, everybody. Happy spring. I didn't count on doing another live right away, but I was guided to come on and just wish everybody happy spring if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, happy autumn. So as you can see by the title, I'll fill in more in the description area below with references and specific links to other YouTube channels I'm going to reference here. But I just wanted to cover a celebration, just touch on celebrating, honoring spring, and talk about the language of flowers, trees, and fairies. So I'll be drawing on some examples from former shows where I've included some interesting, I think anyway, educational references and things, and also just intuitively go with whatever wants to come up for this particular live. So I will also at the end, for anybody who enjoys intuitive card readings, at the end of each little segment, if I remember, I will just pull also a couple of cards having to do with flowers, trees, and fairies. So in the title, I do talk about the language of these things. And as I was just kind of pulling things together, coming on, it all kind of was coming together, and I see why I was strongly led to come on and do this for spring. So I want to segue from, this is my third live that I've done myself on this channel. And the previous one, we were talking about stars. And with that star discussion came up that it's helpful to know the Greek alphabet for the new nomenclature for stars, because a lot of them do start with a preface of alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Maybe there's other, prefixes that come before that. So I did show this, and I'll put this on a community post. I'll go ahead and put that up there. But I will just read it, and then we'll get into this. Will nicely segue neatly with what I'm going to talk about. So just very quickly, it's alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, psi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. So that is the alphabet. And as you can see, hopefully you can see there's an uppercase and a lowercase to that. So just for fun, if you don't know it, maybe it's just something fun to memorize. It can come in handy, even though it is gets a little complex, the language. All right, so starting off with Greek, why did I do that? Because our first up discussion topic is going to be that of flowers. And in a former show of mine called, here's the cover, my sky show, earlier show on this channel, Sky Flowers. At the very beginning, I have a words, wisdom, and spirit of the day page, usually in that older format in those shows. And in this particular one, I covered 20 ancient Greek myths about 20 ancient Greek flowers. And it kicks off with, and this is on the cover of my little thumbnail, the Greek goddess of flowers. So according to the Greek mythology, her name is Chloris, like, Chloris. Obviously, that's the root for many words used having to do with plants and greenery, chlorophyll, that chlor, prefix or root word etymology. So I'm just going to read a little excerpt that I had on the previous show. So you're welcome to go to that Skyflower show if you want to read along with me. But that's an early depiction of well, in this case, they're referring to as the Greek goddess Chloris. Again, the Roman changed the names, but it often, is directly equatable with some of these goddesses figures. So this one just says, in Greek mythology, the rose, the queen of the flowers, is said to have been created by the goddess of flowers, Chloris, who was said to breathe roses as she spoke. One day, as Chloris was wandering through the woods, she came upon the lifeless body of a breathtakingly beautiful young nymph. Chloris was greatly saddened by the loss of such an exquisite beauty, and feeling compassion for the poor nymph, transformed her into a flower so that her beauty may live on. Now, what gets interesting, and I'll just kind of hold this up. Actually, I'll take it out so it's not so glaring, have glare on it. what's interesting with these gods and goddesses stories and myths, and I've covered this on shows before. I'll just put that for anybody who needs to see it. Okay. What's interesting with these stories is, first of all, for me personally, and things that I've been looking at and some of the new evidences that are coming forward into what is our real history these days, getting revelations. We're in a period of revelations where more things are being revealed by the second pretty much every day. For me, the Greek gods or the Roman gods, goddesses, Mount Olympus, where you've got, the pantheon, or what is it? Pantheon of gods, and then there's the Parthenon on the Acropolis. And what were these gods in Mount Olympus? They were up on some high mountain in the clouds. So for me, absolutely, myths are not based on nothing. They're absolutely referring to ETs or galactics, and especially when you're talking about those god, realm type ones. When you look in the Pergamon Museum in Berlin, there's a whole frieze, and it's called the Battle of the Giants. It's the Gigantomachy, I think, or Geomancy. I can't remember. Sorry, now I'm going to get this wrong. Gigantomachy or something like that. And it is depicting, it's a frieze relief in marble of the battle of the giants and the gods. So giants were earthbound, and Gaia is in there too, fighting the gods, the Olympian gods. And so, of course, the Olympian gods were showing us victorious and defeating Earth and all of its inhabitants. So I think that was just kind of like a vanity depiction of them. I don't know that that's really the reality of it, of how things went down. But there's so many fascinating things as, we look deeper and deeper at some of these things to get into. I'm just kind of dropping stuff and going just in case any of things that I talk about either activate you or kind of in the spirit of springboard you into further topics for your own investigation and research. Okay. Oh, one other little footnote on that frieze. And if you go to, I think the Pergamon Museum even has a kind of a 360 tour virtual that you can kind of look around. All of that temple and frieze, it was the temple of Zeus, and it was the altar of Zeus, and it was completely lifted up out of Bodum, Turkey, and moved to Berlin on a museum Insel. It's an island museum where they also, just side fact, also have the Ishtar Gate, which was lifted out of ancient Babylon. So anyway, that's just something to send you if you're interested to research further. But back to our topic, I am going to stick to it, just flowers, trees, and fairies. So that's just a little bit about where, Flora, the Roman goddess comes from the name itself. And there's other interesting little stories. I'm not going to call them myths. I think a lot of the Greek myths and things are based in fact just to borrow from Star Wars, one of the movies, a certain point of view, not the entire truth, but a little bit of it. And then once you know the background of what the real history and truth is, then you get a picture on what the real truth is and things start to make more sense. So I'm going to close out the little flowers topic. I was just wanted to touch on it. And this is not going to be a very long live, more than likely. But anyway, I just wanted to read also the 20 ancient Greek flowers that they were talking about. And again, here's I don't know if you can see. Wait, where am I? Sorry about this. I'm getting used to this format. That's the list. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it, and then we'll pull a card, and then we'll move on to the trees. So they list, and pardon if I mispronounce, but it's looks like aconite, anemone, aster, campanula or bellflower, crocus, dianthus, flowers of the gods, supposedly, delphinium or larkspur, hellebore or Christmas rose, hyacinth, iris, lily, lotus, narcissus, orchid, peony, poppy, rose, sunflower or heliotrope, violet, and yarrow. So I invite you to look into any of those if they interest you. That's the list. And again, I'll probably post any of the images that I hold up as a separate post in the community section on my channel. Okay, for anybody who wants to know. So anyone who likes to know, or not know, but have a little card reading, I will pull a card. I'm going to pull one from an interesting deck. It's called The Language of Flowers Oracle by Sherilyn Darcy. And there's some really beautiful, I like this deck because the images are woodcuts, like engravings, like linoleum type or wood block or linoleum block. Here's just an example. I'm pulling this up randomly. It's Desire, Red Tulip, number 13 or 4. And, It's just a nice depiction. I like the illustrations of these. So what I'm going to do is just real time, just shuffle this and just pull a card. And this may be something, may or may not be for you. You know if it is when I pull it and read the message. And I think we're only going to have like 4 card decks today. So I'll just pull one and let's just see what we get. We'll see what I have them here. And I just do whatever it wants to jump out. Kind of like the pop-out method is how I do it. And actually, we got a couple right away. So we have, I'll hold them up. We have 28, and that's a 10 or a 1, memory, and it's a field poppy. And then we have 34 or number 7, purpose, and poinsettia. And what's really interesting here is that we have a Christmas flower, I'd say. And then I don't know if poppies are summer or spring flowers. Maybe one of you out there can correct, say what it is. Here, I'll just come up here. I can see it's focusing just fine. It's just, sorry about the glare. There we go. Okay, so we've got the poinsettia, if I can do this over here. And then we have the poppy over where my bulk of my hand is. So what's interesting there is we've got red, for whatever reason, this red energy wants to come out. And again, interesting that it's pointing to a couple of different seasons. And I'm just trying to think, this is just anything that comes up is going to be pretty much for like the collective, like a general read on these. But, something might be absolutely hitting you as a perfect synchronicity when you see some of these images. So right away, the one with purpose and the poinsettia, I see, obviously architecture in the background looks like a cathedral. It evokes any number of cities. It's kept kind of a little bit nondescript. For whatever reason, I know it doesn't physically look at it like it, but that just the imagery, it's just giving me a strong Spain vibe. And I know the flower might not necessarily be there, but it doesn't matter. It's what the feeling I'm getting off of the card. So for someone out there, you might have an affinity for Spain, or you might be planning on going there. I know there's some pilgrimages to some of the churches out there, the cathedrals out there. For me, though, even though this looks nothing like it, it's reminding me or giving me kind of the energy of the Sagrada Familia, the cathedral or church, the Sacred Family Church, which isn't finished. Apparently it's taken him over 100 years. It kind of looks like a dripped sand castle, like dripping like muddy sand down, and has that kind of feel to it when you see it in person. Anyway, I'll just say that just putting those two things together, like an unfinished cathedral and maybe the season of Christmas, I would just say for somebody out there, maybe you started a project or things just seem to have slowed something down that you're really looking to do or complete. And, everything has its season, and it could take a bit. Maybe you wanted something completed now, we're in March in the 3rd month, but maybe it does take until 12 for no, let's just say nothing against you. Maybe you've put every effort into it, but maybe the divine has other plans and it's going to drag out a bit. Anyway, that's just what it reminds me of. Also, it could just be that you may be getting a surprise gift, of travel. Maybe you just never dreamed that you'd be able to go to some places, and it's kind of like a little Christmas wish granted, because that the poinsettia, here we go, sorry, in the foreground is reminding me like a star. And in the last show, we were talking about wishing upon a star. Well, stars take many forms. They're celestial in the heavens, and then we have a lot in nature, that has kind of evokes that form, right? Okay, then we get to memory, and I can't help but think of, we have a field of poppies here. So of course, it's dry. My pull on this card is going straight to the scene. Spoiler alert. If somebody doesn't want to know about the Wizard of Oz, just hit mute for a minute. But it's reminding me of that scene, especially where we got little white flowers interspersed in this field. And it reminds me of that scene where the Wicked Witch wants Dorothy and the gang to fall asleep. And so she sends them through the field of poppies, and they fall asleep. That could also be, metaphorically or an allegory for the amnesia, that we get on this planet before we wake up and have kind of a quote unquote great awakening. And then the snow is sent by the Good Witch as a way to break them out of their trance or amnesia. So that's just kind of what I'm getting there. Obviously, there's poppies there's a lot of healing properties that can be used for good, but you can also take poppy and extract things and make it for low vibed use, such as opium and other, kind of drug derivatives. So we're looking at the positive vibes of this card. And I feel too that taking it even more positive and taking it away from the movie reference, I could just see that, okay, you've had this nice getaway or vacation or surprise trip, and the feeling of it is just healthy and good and like running through a field of flowers. So, and in so doing, you create beautiful memories because it says memory on that card. Okay, that's it for that. Now, I want to mention there's a companion, there's or second book or card deck rather, also by the same author, and it's called Australian Wildflower Reading Cards. And those are really pretty too. And those are just having to do with flowers found in Australia. So let me just randomly pull that just for anybody who's in Australia. Kind of feel bad, not bad, but doing a spring reading, I can't help but, think of everybody in the Southern Hemisphere who's not celebrating spring right now. But when you do, maybe revisit this video and it'll make more sense to you. All right, so we got one right away. And we have, for anybody in Down Under, knows Cattlebush. And it's persistence is the message. Okay, and that's a nice, violet colored flower. And actually, let me go to the book. I have a moment to do that. Let me see if we can get any insights here. Give me 1 second to get it. Okay, page 27 or number 9, if that means anything to anybody. And let's just see if I can find it, though, quickly enough. Yeah, I got it almost. Okay, let me just see if anything jumps out at me to read here. Let's see. Okay, well, the key line, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the key lines that I'm just seeing are keywords popping out are your persistence will be rewarded. Don't give up. That's a key message, and I'm just going to leave it at that because it's a very strong, clear, and good message. Too often, we really do just want to, it's a funny phrase, throw in the towel and just, especially if you've been at something for a very long time and you don't see the results. I remember it wasn't long ago. It was a few years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. I remember seeing a meme, and it was kind of had like a Minecraft feel for anybody that knows the video game. And it was just like a little cartoon kind of meme. And it showed a guy with a pickaxe tunneling through a tunnel underground. And he was just about ready to break through this little wall to get free. He literally was just like a couple little strokes with that pickaxe. He had come such a long way to get to that point. And then he just like, the message was like, well, if he gives up now, he was just that close. And I know in a spiritual community, I know this really was one of my pet peeves to hear it. People would say, oh, this is your year, like now's the year, it's going to be great. And, for some of us, maybe the next month it's okay, maybe the next day. For others of us, it's been like a decade, and you're like, I don't want to hear this it's your year stuff, just around the corner. But time is so elusive and it's slippery. And what's interesting is it's an important time now not to judge things on what was done in the past, because things are changing rapidly on this planet. I think everybody, you just, look around, you can see like in every sector, every part of our lives, things are changing dramatically, more so than ever before. And so it's not always wise to say, oh, well, that happened in the past. Well, because now the present is totally different. And things are accelerating. The sense of time is really speeding up or warping in a strange way. So now is not the time to try to look at time linear. And it really is a really good time to be present in the now and not say, oh my gosh, after all these years, it's still not happening. I can't, anymore. Persistence is really going to be key. And not that you have to micromanage or micro focus on, well, I wish for this and it's not happening. No, just let it go. Forget it completely. Enjoy the now. Do things that at least you can enjoy or least hate, let's just say, and carry on, and then just see when whatever you were looking for will surprise you, or you get something else you never could have imagined and it's equal or better showing up in your life. Anyway, but yes, persistence, very important. So that's a big message for somebody out there today. Okay, now we will cover trees. And I don't see anyone. If I happen to see anybody in live chat, That's one thing. If not, I'll just keep going. And instead of a live chat, this will just be a live talk. Okay. So way back on one of my shows, and I believe it was in Tree, Sky, Sun, that particular show. But again, I'll reference and put the correct link if I'm wrong. I did also cover in the beginning, actually, I have the date on July 16th, 2022. I did have a very surprising telepathic conversation with a tree in a park. And the title of the talk, it was just called Tree Speak. So there was a really large tree, and you know what? I don't know if it was a poplar or what the species of it was. But I walked through the park and just something really called me, pulled, energetically pulled me over to the tree. I sat down, wiped my mind. I wasn't doing an active meditation. I just sat there. But as I approached, before I even sat down, there was just a feeling. There's a book that references this, that there's a saying in older, I don't know if it's still done now, in India, in the community of people, where a brotherhood of people say, I salute the divinity in you, when they greet each other. And that's such a beautiful expression. I salute the divinity in you. So that means even if somebody's angry and coming at you and frustrated or just losing their cool for any reasons, right now we got a lot of geomagnetic activity going on in the earth, and just frequencies changing all over the place. Schumann resonance is doing some wild stuff. And people are trying to, get their foot and get their balance. So maybe you pop off, or maybe you're under a lot of stress right now. A lot of people are dealing with some bizarre situations. A lot of families, friends, people are actually transitioning off this planet, or a lot of people are having to do caregiving or extreme caregiving, and it's taxing, and we're just human. And sometimes we might, as much as we want to kind of keep our cool or stay balanced, we might lose it or pop off a second, and it's natural, it's human nature. So anyway, what I want to say is, with all of that going on, it's really, really important to ground and be in nature. And in this case, I know I missed a point. If anyone comes in chat, you can come back and remind me if I don't circle back and find it on my own. But at the point I'm getting back to is the telepathic conversation with this tree in this park. I was called to walk up and approach it. I got it now. And before I even sat down, I was called to kind of communicate telepathically with it, to the extent where it was kind of like, if you saw the Avatar, the first movie, they always say, like, I see you, like I really see you, not with the physical eyes, but with the heart and with the third eye, spiritually. It was kind of like that moment where I was reminded of that, I salute the divinity in you, tree, and we are each divine beings. We're just taking on a different physical form, but our soul and our spirit, it's all one and connected. So anyway, I was strongly guided to mentally talk to the tree, telepathically talk to the tree, and just say, do you mind if I take a place here and sit down? And the tree was communicating, please, have a seat. And then I since everything is energetics, and especially with ants and trees, you got the mycelium underneath the roots, and they communicate. Everything's very active and alive, and including the ants and how they communicate. So I even asked the tree silently, hey, can you please make sure if there are any like fire ants, because those are a real problem, can be where I live in Miami. They really hurt. If you don't know about them, look them up. They burn like fire, when they bite you. So I just said, can you move any of those out of the way for me when I sit? Because I know the tree would have the capacity energetically to kind of shift things around. And it was kind of like a silent speak to also the ants. If you could just, I don't want to harm anyone. I just want to take a place and sit on the ground. So everything was made clear, and I could sit and not have to be preoccupied worrying about getting bit or whatever, and just focus on the communication between myself and the tree. And I think what I'll do is, let me see the time. I'm going to straight up read it, because even though it's going to be found on my YouTube channel, and I will put the link, it was a very special moment. And since we are honoring spring and all things green and beautiful life springing forward again at this time, I think I will read it. So you're going to hear me. I'm going to read both parts. This is written in a dialogue form, so it's going to be me and the tree. I'll try to make it clear on the distinction, but if it isn't clear, I will post this too, or put the link so you can read it in your own time, on your own time if you want to. So here we go. It's not too long. So I approach and I say, and this is all silent communication telepathically. What kind of tree are you? And the tree says, an earth being. Can I talk with you? Tree, yes, of course. You're beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything I should share with the people? And the tree gave me a vision. It just kind of came in subtly in my third eye, just in my creative space, imagination space. The tree gave me a vision of it like nodding down over me and nudging me and just saying, have a seat on the grass, very welcoming. And at the same time, a group of ducks started to move toward me while all of this was happening in the conversation. So then I was thinking to myself, messages. Is there anything that I need to give, the tree needs to give to me? And then I just kind of let it go. I was trying to like lull myself just into a calm state to receive. And the tree was kind of silently, I felt the energy assuring me, I will speak to you, So then I said, oh, thanks. Protect me from the harmful type of ants in the grass, if you can, please. Done. You ready? Me, yes. The tree says, there is a time for all things, and things all work out. Be at peace, peaceful. Things are green. Can you see them? Or are you looking at the dirt? Or can you find the magic in the dirt? It heals. I heal. You heal yourself if you let it, your inner sun. Why aren't you all doing that? The earth loves you. I love you all. Feel the love, feel the nurturing, feel the wind as it plays with your hair or touches your face. Are you in touch? Can you feel into this? Close your eyes if you need to see it that way. I am here, patient, waiting. So that was all the tree. So then I say, you are patient, waiting? Yes, all is not what it seems. And the tree said it with a laugh and kind of like a wink. All is not what it seems. And I got a deeper meaning there. Like I really felt it and saw it in a subtle way all at once, that the tree is hinting that if I could really see what the tree really is, that like it would be truly amazing, not just like this physical form that we see here in the 3D with the 3D perception. So then the tree says, you are all loved, all of you. My God, you're loved. Do you doubt this? How can you doubt this? Is there sunshine in your heart? Do you live today? Aren't you living right now? How are you living? Why are you living? Ask yourself, is that not enough for you to simply breathe, feel the glory that is air? Do you not dare to fully breathe it all in? Why? Why not? I love you. I care. I sing. I dream just like you. Celebrate this place, Earth, with me. And then I said, I will. I do. And I love you too. Thank you for sharing this beautiful message with me. And I was feeling the tree lovingly looking down over me and kind of like nodding, in an acknowledgement, like it knows, we feel it. And then I said, is there anything more to say? And the tree said, nothing more until we meet again, family. And then I just said, thank you, love you, and I got to thank you back. So that's tree speak. And if you can clear your mind and just go sit down in a park, I'm sure if you found my channel, a lot of you have maybe done this, try this, or it's like a normal for you. And if not, it really is pretty wondrous. And if you can just calm and sit there enough and just get everything out of your head, you'll start to feel it too. I know a lot of people who haven't thought they could do it, and you just get in that space and you absolutely can. And that's with trees, that's with animals, anything. Okay. All right. So now, based on that little talk about trees, I think that's all I wanted to say. Oh no, I had more. Hold on. But wait, there's more. Hold on one second. I wanted to talk about the Ogham. I know I've brought it up before, and it is on the channel, and I have the Tree Sky Sun show. That's a stave, a mini stave, and it's of the tree alphabet. It's called the Ogham, Ogham. And what's interesting is you read the Ogham from the ground up, like as if you're, that way, as if you're climbing a tree. And then there is the Celtic Ogham symbols tree alphabet. And again, I'll get you to the show, and I'll post this again too and give the links. So with the symbols, and actually here I have these. I have a bunch of them. So there's a symbol connected with a specific tree. So like willow or oak or birch, ash. There's so many. So I have a little set of these. I highly recommend it if you do enjoy trees and Celtic things, and jumping into things like fairies, elves, and the whole druid, discussions of what's going on in the past. People really connected in with the earth energies. So I looked online at one point, and somebody had made a set of these, and they tracked, the letter of the Ogham alphabet and put it on the actual little, twig of each tree that it corresponded with. So I have that. It's really cool. Anyway, I'm going to read this just very quickly because there are 20 letters of that alphabet. So that's why I was saying it's funny how we segued from the stars and discussion of my life too, and how it's good to have the Greek alphabet knowledge handy. Now we're getting into the tree alphabet language, having that handy. So, and I might, let's see, no, I can pronounce these. There's the Celtic way of saying it, which I think I'll leave alone because I don't really know it. I'll refer you to the list. So I'll just read the English version of the trees. The spoken word of the Celtic way is probably really beautiful. I just don't want to totally mess it up. So we have 20 of the trees for the Ogham alphabet. So number 1, birch. 2, rowan. 3, alder. 4, willow. 5, ash. 6, hawthorn. 7, oak. 8, holly. 9, hazel. 10, apple. 11, bramble. 12, ivy. 13, reed or broom. 14 is blackthorn. 15, elder. 16, pine. 17, gorse. 18, heather. 19, aspen. And 20, yew, spelled Y-E-W. Okay, so those are the tree alphabet symbols with the Celtic Ogham. Okay, now on that note, I think I'll just drop that. That's one of those drop those and goes. If you don't know anything about the Ogham, I'm just laying it down there for you to go ahead and check it out further. Now there is another wonderful book and card deck that's by actually somebody who's really well versed in research about the tree alphabet. And I think in real life, she's also does a lot with landscape design and knows a lot about trees and plants. And then these are some of the cards. Okay, so it's called Roots: Insights from the Tree Alphabet of Old Ireland by Olivia Wiley. So I'm just going to shuffle this and just see what we get and see if there are any interesting messages. Actually, you know what? On this one, hang on one second. I think on this one, no. On this one, I'll pull one, but I want to read one that I pre-pulled because it seemed to call to me to talk about rites of spring or rituals for spring. So the one I selected is broom, and the card looks like this as well. And it says heal as a message. And let me just see, there's a nice line in here. It says, hang on. One second. Okay, this one, it just talks about, well, I'll just say the message. And this is just a reminder about rites or rituals of spring where we do what? Spring cleaning. Back in the older Celtic circles and traditions, there was a lot more to it and how you celebrated spring, obviously being really in touch with nature. The message on this one card is, in making yourself whole, you aid in the healing of those around you. In making others whole, you aid in the healing of the world. Okay, so hold on. There was something I wanted to read here. Hang on. Okay, this particular plant, there were many uses, and one of them, it says, one of the most popular was to use it with wedding and celebration decorations, and it was carried to weddings for luck. It was burned as a torch to promote health. It was fed to cattle, people, and sheep in winter to provide missing vitamins in the diet. And it was brewed into a heady mead, it says. At Eastertide, which is now for spring, it was common to form flowering broom into besoms and clean the house out for the year. And scrubbing pads for the floors and walls were often made from the wire-like branches. and it was a favorite for thatching houses and other things. So mainly I just wanted to bring it up as a reminder to talk about like spring cleaning. And a lot of these things are so tied with nature back in the older cultures or more ancient cultures before that knowledge got wiped out. And we know there was a bigger picture of why they got wiped out by, you know, the Christianity and the over-the-top extremists with crusades and other things to take away all of the quote-unquote pagan knowledge, which pagan was just really being completely in touch with the earth and using plants and naturals as healing, you know, basis for healing, and, you know, wonderful uses, and being in touch with the times of the year and the times of the day in a way that made sense to all of us and our bodies and our symbiotic relationship with animals, plants, nature, the sky, the earth, everything, the water, everything all around us. Okay, so now I'm just going to pick out another card to wrap up the trees part and roots and all of that, and then we'll move on to fairies. And this one is the Celtic Spirit deck by Nicola McIntosh, and it looks like this. Anyway, let's just see if there's anything that wants to come out there. And this is a cool little deck because it also has like a green, you know, on the edges. It's really cool. Okay, so let's just see if anything wants to come out. And I wish you, on as we're moving along, wherever you are in the world, wish you a beautiful day, a beautiful right now, beautiful evening. Okay, we got number 2, the Oak Guardian, Threshold, Answers, Open Mind. And we got this little Oak Guardian dude. So I'm not going to say too many messages with this one because I do want to kind of move along and wrap up. But the strong message I'm just hearing right now is, you know, knock and the door will be opened, you know, kind of ask and you shall receive. Knock on the door for it to open. Sometimes they won't. This one does look like it's going to stay shut for a bit. But does this guy look bothered? Nope. Or girl, whatever it is. This little being seems pleased as punch. And in fact, it's reminding me that a being like this probably doesn't even need to physically knock. It can probably just change state and face right through that door, right? Like teleport through it. So, and if it is closed, he's like, hey, great, I'll go play in the forest. You know, there's plenty else to do. I didn't need that door anyway, or I'll just come back at another time. No big deal, right? Don't sweat the small stuff. So anyway, that's just the message there. Okay. All right, now let's move on to fairies. This is an exciting topic, which I love, and I do talk about it quite often. I refer to my show on my channel called, oh, hi there, sweetie. I don't want to say sweetie, it just came out that way. Maybe you needed that. But welcome, Lake Superior Skywatcher and nature lover, Sharon. Appreciate you as always. Happy spring, even though I just saw your latest post and you've got a healthy amount of snow there. Something I never see here in subtropical Miami. So try to enjoy it if you can. It looks beautiful, but I'm not the one shoveling it. So extra strength to you and power and energy if you need it up there, and stay warm. Yes, she says yes. Anybody fighting, battling snow, hopefully you can get somebody else to do it and do fun things like ski in it or snowmobile or do whatever you want to do. Okay, make a snow angel. All right, speaking of snow angels and fun magical things, sorry, just give me a moment. I'm getting to the right little visual aid. Okay, so on my show, on my channel number 177 called Sky Mysteries, okay, the cover is going to look like this. All right. Now, this is in combination. This is analysis work that I did based on some amazing findings found by SugarSeas, the YouTube channel SugarSeas. And what she did, and I'm going to put this down, I'll put it back up in a minute. She, you can look at the analysis she does. It's pretty incredible too, and slightly, you know, different topics. Some of ours overlap, but really wonderful things done there. She happened to find some footage of this fairy flittering around outside of a cave entrance in Greece. It happened to be, the name of the cave was Hades Cave. And she found somebody's footage, you know, just online, and the person didn't even know what was in there. It wasn't like the person was taking the footage to say, hey, I found something. Person was just panning around. So she was just looking through and went, whoa, that's a fairy. So I'm going to hold it up again. So in this case, and again, I'm trying to get used to this format, everybody. So pardon me if I'm like not pointing in the right place. But anyway, this, there we go. So down here, this fairy, was just kind of flying around. Now, to the naked eye, on looking on the footage, at first glance, and I'm going to pull this away on purpose so you see it like you would have seen it on the TV screen or screen monitor. This, at first glance, just looked like, hey, what's the big deal? It's a moth or some kind of giant moth with like dangling whatever the parts of the moth are, right? It didn't look like much, but the more you studied it, you saw, wait a minute, the flight pattern isn't like a moth. This is very interesting. It seems deliberate. And then the more you zoomed in and looked at it, SugarSeas on her channel found that it was a fairy. Well, she left it, kind of like this. So doing what I do, if you've looked on my channel and seen me doing the sky shows, zooming in on the cloak and craft and doing my analysis enhancements on it until I get to parts and pieces, machine pieces, I thought, I got to do that technique of my analysis on this fairy and see what we can see. So I'm going to put the link to this show below because you must, especially if you enjoy fairies, even if you know them to be real in your heart. This is photographic evidence. And with my analysis, when we zoom in to see her face, you even see her little fairy bun, little crown, and I'm going to show you that in a second. So anyway, fascinating, fascinating. So if anybody wonders if they're real, okay, we got proof. This is proof. Now, also, people, it's great to know that they're real without the proof. And I love observing children. There was one, I was trying to get a rental, an apartment. I needed to move. And I remember the realtor brought her daughter along. I didn't know her. They were the other persons showing the house, the realtor, the apartment. Anyway, the little daughter ran off and was like talking to these bushes for quite a while. And I could tell the mom was a little embarrassed because the mom hadn't been awakened and didn't think this stuff was real. So she's like, oh, she just thinks she's talking to fairies. And then I said, no, she is. Like, I know she is. And the lady probably thought I was crazy, but I didn't care because I know the girl. She was engaged in a very specific conversation. And even though I couldn't see them, I had worked enough with kids who could see deeper and saw sparkles and orbs. And I know they were seeing them, just I couldn't yet. And I still can't quite see a lot of that stuff. But I feel it and I know when presences are there. So anyway, it was just funny. So wherever you are on that spectrum or you're watching this going, what? There aren't fairies? Well, I want to show you the cover of my show 177, Sky Mysteries. Yes, they are. So I took the footage, and again, when you look on the show, you'll see it clear. This is kind of bitmappy and fuzzy. Actually, let me take this out. This is worth taking out. Why am I making such a long and big deal out of this? It's because I was shocked out of my mind when I found out we could actually capture this on video or camera footage and point to all of the detail of this little being. So she's like a ballerina. Let me pull it up. Hopefully you can see it. Sorry. Okay. She's like a ballerina. If you see what I'm seeing, I'll point it out and hopefully you can see it. If not, go look at my, the better resolution on my channel. And again, I'm doing this mirrored, so pardon me if I'm struggling with the right directions. So this is her face. This is a profile of her nose, her chin down here. This little thing up here is a little detail ornament of her little crown that is sitting on top of her head. This is the back of her head with a bun going out horizontal. This is her neck going down to her back, okay? And these are her shoulders. And then this is an arm that's curved down. Now, when you look at my channel with the analysis, you're going to see she's wearing a long gown. You're going to see both of her legs and feet. Now, do the feet look exactly like ours? No, they're a little exaggerated. They're like a little bit bigger and longer compared to her body. But when you zoom in and go on my channel and see the analysis, the thing that fascinated me, you can barely make it out here, is that's the tip of her crown. And these two little things are like, they're reminiscent of antenna, but they're little flora. They're little like plant material as a part of her natural crown. So to me, this is undeniable. And the language of the fairies, getting back to our language theme of my title, is that they're energetic. So the camera, with my simple analysis like I do in the sky, I didn't change anything about it. It's just a basic camera phone and bring it up on like tools like Photoshop or something. Once you start doing like upping or lowering the levels of contrast and color saturation and clarity on it, you start to see that it just feels alive and energetic, just very electric. So I would say that's the language of the fairies, just like I talked about with the trees. There's an electricity in there, with the mycelium of the roots and the plants. And the ants obviously respond to electricity because they often follow cables that go into the wall. Anything that's like plugged in, like a coffee maker or something, they travel where the electric current is. So the more you study animal behavior and things and start to tie all of this together, it becomes really fascinating. And I guess they can say it's an electric universe, right? So, and we respond too. Our whole body would respond to electrical charge in the air. So anyway, I highly recommend that to go take a look at fairies. And there's a lot more to talk about with them. But to me, that's all I need to say. Look at the picture and the proof of it. And I won't get into, some of the folklore, and there's a whole bunch more to be said for fairies. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And because I'm looking at the time and I have to go. But what I'm going to do is pull a card from the Fairy Tarot deck. And I'll put that in the description box below. And let's just see if there are any messages, if anybody likes intuitive readings. Once again, maybe you just want to hear something. Maybe you're looking for a sign or even just a word. And if not, it's always fun just to see what comes up. So if you're just joining in, I just kind of do the hop card, see what hops out. And let's just see what we got. And we already got one. Okay, that was really quick. So we have, I'll hold it up, but it's very apropos for the title of the show or this live. It is 9 of Spring. And I need to pull it over to the side and I'll hold it up after I'm done. It says, protect the fruits of your labors. Prepare for possible challenges that lie ahead, and environmental conservation. Okay, so in any of these, I don't take any negatives, out of any of the cards that come up. It's always intuitively reading through. It's going to be something more positive because of how I'm reading it, and I'll explain why. So in this case, I'll just read it one more time. Protect the fruits of your labors. Prepare for possible challenges that lie ahead, and environmental conservation. So the main thing that jumps out for me on this is number 9, is the number of completion, which is interesting because it's 9 of spring, because spring is new beginnings. So it's kind of a nice, like, rounding out the old and embarking on the new, and not being afraid, and knowing that you're protected, that nature is there, that always has our back, if we keep a nice reciprocal, relationship with it. And for me, it's prepare for possible challenges that lie ahead. Well, in this, it's all optimistic though, because let me just try to do this. This little fairy, she's looking ahead, but she's sheltered. She's covered by the daffodils. I think those are. They're pure and white, so it's kind of like divine protection. And in the foreground, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little ladybugs. Sorry about the glare. And I'll post this where it can be better seen. That's maybe better. So, she's a little hesitant because of her size. I mean, you can see the size of the ladybugs compared to her. So she's kind of got to be careful and watch her environment. But her back is covered. She's covered by divine things above. And she's got luck and good fortune on her path ahead. So even though she's in a state of a little bit of uncertainty, that's normal. That's life. But the main thing is that she can move through it. She's wading through those weeds, and she looks ahead. She looks before she leaps, and then she just trusts that wherever she's going, it's going to be okay. Why? Because she's fully equipped. She's got wings. She could fly out of there. She can run out of there. She can do any number of things. She's not boxed or locked in. She has freedom. So anyway, just I guess that's the spirit, and a great thing to close, kind of message to close out on, is that no matter what lies ahead, we come fully equipped. And each day that we get in touch with who we are, we're getting more and more wisdoms, more and more activations. And it's a new game, what I talked about earlier. If we just base everything linear, like, oh, well, this happened in the past, so this is going to be hard. No more rules. We're wide open. The way is open before us. So we're coming into touch with some things that don't, no more going by old rules that other people created. Now we're creating our own rules and following our hearts with things. So the way forward is going to be totally different. And it is, do you believe it's happening for you, not to you? Then your way is going to be smooth and beautiful. If you believe that you got that bum wheel in the shopping cart and you always have bad luck, then that's what you're going to see in your life. And very much so, this is what's going on, because the energies on the planet are shifting and supporting our now creativity and our creative powers, our powers of creation. And the more now that we believe in ourselves and believe that's possible, we're rewriting everything and creating a beautiful way forward. Okay. Well, anyway, again, I just want to say thank you. And thanks again, Sharon over at Lake Superior Skywatcher Nature Lover. I appreciate your beautiful comments. And if anyone finds this later on the replay, it'll be timely, whether it's spring or not, or autumn, wherever you are for you. And as always, hi, Rocks Girl. Hi, popping up. I'm going to close now, but I welcome you to see this on the replay. And I was just going to say, I just wish everybody tremendous peace and love. I'm grateful whether you catch this live or on the replay. And yeah, I'll post things. And if I miss something, feel free to put it in the comments. And if they block them, because they often do, they shadow ban the heck out of me from day one on my channel. I know it. I'm still here, though. Thanks. You'll watch replay. Thanks, Rocks Girl. Appreciate it. But if I missed something, you can always shoot me an email if you'd like, hey, where's that reference you had and I didn't put in the description box below? Just let me know. Otherwise, beautiful spring, beautiful autumn, or whatever you're experiencing. And till next time. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye. If I can get this. Okay. It won't stop. Sorry, guys.